Hello students, recently a viewer in our YouTube channel asked that isn't it true that artificial intelligence is going to replace all mathematical work in future? So if that's the case, does it even make sense to study mathematics in the year of 2026 and hope to become a mathematician one day? In this video, we will try to answer this question and the answer might surprise you. So let's get started. At the very beginning, I must admit that there are far greater minds than myself who can answer this question, and no one knows for sure. But one of the greatest minds of our time, Professor Terence Tao, delivered a fantastic speech on this in the ICM 2026, and I strongly encourage you to actually go ahead and watch his speech. So he's talked about a lot of things, and one of the key takeaways for me was we are entering the age of proof abundance from the age of proof scarcity. So what does that mean? That means that if you have a hypothesis ready, and if it is a contained, tightly posed question that can be solved using certain constructions or checking a finite number of cases, then AI can probably quickly come up with a proof for such a hypothesis. Earlier, someone needed to think carefully about it for a long amount of time, check all the cases by hand, and then the proof would settle down. But now, thanks to artificial intelligence, large language models, these type of proofs can be quickly done, and there are plenty of examples of it. So Tao suggests that we are actually entering the age of proof abundance. But mathematics is not just about proofs. It's about creating new theories. It's about thinking about what is important and explaining large language stories that starts from something very simple, which are called fundamental results, that goes up to something fantastic, which are the main frontier theories. So the consensus among researchers is this, that it will continue to be useful. Human intelligence and intuition will continue to be useful in this large scale of things. But I will tell you a more specific example. Let me quickly remind you about the Prime Number Theorem. It is a very beautiful theorem discovered by Carl Friedrich Gauss. The question was really simple. Suppose you wanted to know the number of prime numbers from 1 to, let's say, 10,000. How would you calculate it? How many prime numbers are there? What about 1 to 100,000? What about 1 to 1 million? Can you quickly tell me the number of prime numbers in this block? So Gauss actually thought about this problem very carefully, and one of the ways he started thinking about this problem was by doing numerical experiments. So there were a long list of prime numbers that other mathematicians have computed before him. He took that list, he also calculated some on his own, and he tried to look for patterns. For example, he checked blocks of 1 to 10,000, 10,001 to 20,000, and so on, and he looked at number of prime numbers falling into each of those blocks. He did it in several different ways. A lot of computation went into it, a lot of calculation. Remember, there was no electricity at that time. There was no computers, of course. So all of that had to be hand computed. So Gauss did all of that, and after doing all of that, he found a very beautiful result, that the number of prime numbers from 1 to, let's say, 10,000 is approximately 10,000 divided by ln of 10,000. ln means the natural logarithm of 10,000. So you calculate the natural logarithm of 10,000 and you divide that number, you divide 10,000 by that number. Whatever you get, that will give you approximately the number of prime numbers from 1 to 10,000. The same would work for any number. So you go to 1 to 1 million. So you divide 1 million by ln of 1 million. you will get the number of prime numbers approximately. So think about what went to the discovery of this beautiful theorem. A lot of data crunching was needed at the very beginning. Now, thanks to artificial intelligence, right now, as students of mathematics in schools and colleges, that computation has become very easy to do. So, traditionally, what you would do is you would write a Python code in the age of computers, or a C code, or whatever, choose your favorite programming language. You write code and you try to compute the pattern using computers. But for that, you needed to learn how to write code. So not only you needed to learn mathematics, you needed to write code to run experiments to check whether your hunch about a certain result is correct or not. Right now, thanks to the large language models, if you have a computational experiment in mind, you can actually let the LLM do the code, and you actually run that code and get the result you want. As mathematicians, at least at the beginning, we do not want to be great coders. We want to see patterns in mathematics, and coding is just our tool to do large-scale computations. So that is really one of the main benefits that LLMs have right now that our predecessors did not have. So as a student of mathematics stepping into 2026, if you try to learn good math, if you want to learn, prove new theorems and do new research, one great advantage that you have is you can use computation as a superpower, and you do not even need to know how to write code for that. So in my understanding, this will highly accelerate how mathematics is done. The second thing is, the people who learn mathematics, a vast majority of them do not go into research, but they learn something completely different. What do they learn? They learn how to see order, how to see patterns inside a messy set of data. That could be business data, that could be healthcare data, that could be genetic data, that could be basic common sense stuff in life. You see a messy set of data points, and as a mathematician, in your mind, those things get organized, and you are able to see pattern in them. You are able to create and write down specific problems. You are able to isolate the problems, and then you are able to solve them in the domain of business, healthcare, or whatever domain you are interested in, financial mathematics, and so on. So that is a skill as a student of mathematics that you get for free. In fact, this is arguably more useful than a computer science degree for that matter, because coding is something that a large language model does really well. So you don't I'm not saying you don't really need to learn how to code. Of course you do, because there are more to computer programming and software development than just writing code. But at least from a large scale point of view, if you are trying to create new questions, see a messed up data set, and focus on the important stuff, if those kind of things are important for you, and they are extremely important for the real world, then mathematics is definitely a go-to subject. Okay, now the third point that I would like to stress is that we are actually entering the age of industrial mathematics, as Terence Tao puts it. So a lot more people will be operating at parts of math. So not one person would be constructing the entire proof. A team will be involved. Some people will run the data calculations. Some people will be running models that can look for patterns. Some can look for constructions, and together you form a theorem. In that industrial production of mathematics, I think there will be more work, more interesting work for us to do. And finally, let me just conclude by saying that mathematical input is now needed for areas in that we never thought would have mathematical flavor. One example is law. Legal intelligence has become to the forefront. Mathematicians, statisticians are being employed in those kind of professions just to see patterns, build models, and predict possible legal channels for a certain case maybe. The same thing is true about biology. Of course, bioinformatics has been in the forefront for quite a long time, and this is only growing. And this century could probably be the century of biological discoveries. There are so many problems that are completely unsolved even today. In fact, we do not know most of the stuff about our universe, and mathematics strengthened with artificial intelligence becomes a very big tool for that particular pursuit. So personally, I am extremely hopeful and I am extremely positive about these developments. I see artificial intelligence as a booster, a strong friend or a colleague of mine who will help me to ask interesting questions, do quick calculations to check if my hunch is correct, make constructions, and help me see beyond what I was able to see personally. Thank you for joining this video. If you liked it, then you can continue subscribing to our channel. We have fantastic programs on mathematical Olympiads, research programs, and leadership programs. Check the link in the description for more detail. Thank you. Bye.